اهلا ومرحبا بكم في الحلقه ديال اليوم. كما شفتوا في العنوان، قصه نجاح ديال واحد الشاب تركي كان شغوف جدا بميدان الاعلاميات، وكان كيشارك في الاولمبياد ديال الاعلاميات، ومن ثم انطلقت الرحله ديالو للسيليكون فالي في الولايات المتحده الامريكيه، ومن بعد جا الافريقيه من اجل استكشاف المنطقه، واذا به يعجب بالبوتنشال وبالسكيلز وبالباشن ديال الشباب الافريقي في اثيوبيا، بالتحديد في اليونيفرسيتي ديال اديس ابابا. من ثم جاتو فكره انه يخلق واحد الاكاديميه اسمها افريكا تو سيليكون فالي، اللي الهدف ديالها هو تريني يونغ بيبل باش يوصلوا انهم ياخذوا انترنشيبس، وكذلك خدمات في شركات عالميه بحال جوجل وغيرهم. هذه الاكاديميه كتعتمد على البروبلم سولفين، وبالطبع داتا ستراكشرز وداكشي كامل اللي كنعرفوه كاين في الكومبيتيتيف بروغرامين، حيت هادشي اللي كيخول هاد الشباب انهم يطلعوا النيفو كيف كنقولوا، ويجيهم سهل انهم زعما تو ميك ات تو جوجل او انذر كومباني بيج كومباني اللي كاينه في السيليكون فالي. قصه نجاح رائعه جدا، تعامل ولا اروع. تحدثنا على بزاف ديال الحوايج، من بينهم انتربرينورشيب، ومن بينهم العقليه الافريقيه والاشياء اللي شويه خاصنا نبدلوها في طريقه التعامل ديالنا، في طريقه العمل ديالنا، باش نكونوا مور افيشنت، وباش نقدروا نوصلوا اننا نكونوا واحد الهاب ديال التكنولوجيا في العالم. عطاني الاوكي باش نشيري زعما الايميل ادريس والويب سايت ديالو مع الطلبه المغاربه اللي محتاجين مساعده سورتو فهادشي تاع البروبلم سولفين في الكومبيتيتيف بروغرامين وغيره، فهو مستعد يساعد. وكاين كانوا ايفنتس راوند تيبلز، علاش لا يقدر ينتراجي معكم. دونك على بركه الله نبدا. Mr. Emre, welcome to Podcast in Sophia.
Thank you very much.
It's such a great pleasure having you here today. As I've already told you, it's a podcast, a Moroccan podcast, which aims to invite people who might consider outliers, and you belong to this category, so welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So, Emre, Mr. Emre, could you please introduce yourself so that our audience knows more about you?
I am Emre. Originally, I am Turkish, and I was born and raised in Turkey. After studying computer science in Bilkent University, I also took master's degree specializing on information retrieval. And after that, I decided to work for top Silicon Valley companies. And my first job was at Palantir. First, I started in London. I was there for a year. Then I transferred to United States and worked in Palo Alto, in the heart of Silicon Valley, for one more year at Palantir. After that, I switched to Google. And I was at Google as a research engineer for 2 years. And finally, I switched to Liftoff. Relatively speaking, it is a smaller size company. I worked there as a machine learning engineer for a little over 3 years. And after that, after working for for-profit companies about 7 years, I wanted to give back to the society. And for that reason, I came to Ethiopia, Africa, and started training high potential university students here and connecting them with opportunities at top tech companies where they can learn how to build and maintain products that are used all around the world by millions of users. So in a nutshell, this is who I am. And currently, I am working as head of education at A2SV, Africa to Silicon Valley.
Wow, that's blowing up minds. I mean, such a great career. But I got a question, Emre. How did you make it to Google? And how was your experience there? And most importantly, what did you learn from it? Because as you know, Google is the dream company for many young engineers from all over the world. So everybody is interested in knowing how you made it there. So could you please tell us more about your experience there? Thank you.
Let me start with how I made that. So actually, I'm a very lucky person in life. Thanks God. And my way to Google was also open because of some choices I made very early in my life without knowing what kind of journey it will prepare me for. So I was an Olympic student in the high school. And for 3 years, our studies focused on programming, data structures, algorithms, problem solving, the skills that you need to perform well in competitive programming. And first, I joined national competitions, and then I have represented Turkey in international Olympiads in informatics.
Okay.
And after high school, during college and masters, I continued training new generations of Olympic students. And this gave me the ability to ace programming interviews without having any difficulty. So imagine the problems that I worked, I don't know, over 10 years. They were asked in the interviews, in the easier versions of them. So it wasn't that difficult for me to get my job at Google.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And working there, like Google definitely is one of the best companies in the world. Pretty much all the software engineers dream of working at Google or companies in the same level.
Yeah.
And for a reason, because those companies, they have great resources. They have so much computational power that you can use as an engineer there. And they touch to many people's lives. So maybe Google does not have an engineering office in Africa yet. Indeed, they are planning to open one office in Accra,
Yeah,
Ghana.
that's what I heard. Yeah.
Still, millions of people, if not billions, or if not over a billion in Africa, are using Google products everywhere. When I first come to Ethiopia, I choose my hotel based on a Google search. And I found that Addis Ababa University is the best university of the country. Again, thanks to a Google search. Then I found my way to Addis Ababa University thanks to Google Maps. And yeah, Google does not have any existence in Ethiopia, still affecting millions of people's lives, indirectly or directly.
Yeah. I see.
And yeah, it is a great experience to work there, be surrounded by many smart people, work on impactful projects. At the same time, you feel like, especially as an entry-level engineer, like a cell in a big body. So the pace is not very high. It is very comfortable. You can learn a lot, but you should have very good self-discipline. Otherwise, the conditions are very relaxed.
Yeah.
So I would say in the first year of my career, I was a very good engineer there. I did very good contributions. And after that, I didn't get promoted. And I was very disappointed with that.
Yeah.
And in the second year, I just chilled. So I worked, I went to work very late. And I went to gym. I played football. I enjoyed the free food. You know, it was being kind of a retired person a little over 6 months and getting paid at the same time. But it didn't feel bad because in the first year I worked really hard, and I believe I didn't get a promotion that I have deserved. And indeed, they have changed the promotion system for my level after, because there were some unfair situations. Mine was not the only one. And they fixed it, I think, after a year or two. Then I left Google.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so that's amazing because, as I said, Google is a dream for many people. It is always hard for them to get, firstly, to get an interview, and even people who get interviewed, it's hard to get accepted. So I guess it's thanks to all the skills you got from school and from your activities you were doing after school and Olympiads.
Olympiads, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Olympiads of informatics. Emre, I would like to ask you another question, and this time it's related to your journey in entrepreneurship. You've worked at Google, and we all know that Google is based in Silicon Valley, and it's the perfect place for startups and businesses to start and to grow. So, was this experience for you inspiring to be an entrepreneur?
I would say yes and no. Yes, because the experience I get from Google the connections I have made there and the reputation it gave me, it definitely helps to open the doors. If I didn't have Google on my CV, I don't think I could have started A2SV in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
So yes, for that part. No, because I decided to become an entrepreneur before I joined Google. So when I left academy, my objective was getting experience in Silicon Valley for about 5 to 8 years and moving back to Turkey and start my own business there with what I have learned in Silicon Valley. And since I had the dream of starting a business before Google, I would say no.
Yeah, Emery, I got you. For the first point, having Google on your CV gives you more credibility in the eyes of the others, especially in the eyes of the ones who really want to make it to Silicon Valley. They need to be trained and mentored by people who worked there, so who have worked there, for example. And for the second point, I see that was an old plan of yours, so I totally understand that the answer is both of them. Okay, now let's move to another point and another stage of your life. Your adventure at the University of Addis Ababa, how was it? And was this experience of teaching and lecturing young people at the university, at an African university, a trigger for you to start your company, Africa to Silicon Valley?
Indeed, it actually started together. So the way it happened is, like I mentioned, I came to Ethiopia and I'm in a hotel room. I don't know much about the country. I made a Google search and found that Addis Ababa University is the best university. And then I put the address on Google Maps and I just walked there. And I found software engineering department head and had a conversation with him. He's a very nice guy, Mr. Natnael. And I told him about my dream. At that time, my dream was training 5 second-year students after school and helping them getting ramped up on interview preparation and connecting them with interviews at Google. And after hopefully this successful campaign, I wanted to ask them to train 5 more students next year so that this wouldn't become a one-time thing, but it would be more like a chain and it can continue. And when I told him about my dream, Mr. Natnael said, Emre, why don't you offer this as an informal course and train more students? And of course, I was happy to train more students with this way. And indeed, at A2SV, things so far played out a lot better than my dreams, definitely beyond my imaginations, because with the plan I had in mind, it was going to take 30 years to reach to 150 students. And it has been 2 years and 3 months since A2SV was founded. And currently, we have over 160 students.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, see. So it's very ingenious because even the idea at the beginning was great because you're going to train a limited number of people, and those people will train others. So it's such like a network of trainers and a lot of impact. And the work you've done is amazing because the numbers talk for themselves. That's great. So A2SV, is it an IT recruiting company or is it an IT training company or both of them? So what do you consider yourself? Both of them or just one side?
We are an academy. So like with a formal definition, I would say A2SV is an academy which upskill high potential university students in Africa and connect them with opportunities at top tech companies like Google, LinkedIn. We also do socially impactful projects together under the guidance of top experts from Silicon Valley.
Okay, I see.
So yes, we are heavily involved in education because without training, there is no way. Without consistent studies, there is no way you can succeed in interviews with top tech companies.
Yeah.
As you said at the beginning, everybody wants to work at Google. So to shine among all these people, you definitely put many hours consistently, and practice is not enough. You need to be using very good, if not perfect, practice methodologies. That is the like one of the good ways of getting there, let's say.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, good. Well, my question is, why did you choose Africa for your academy? I saw somewhere that you are targeting Africa because there are many underdeveloped countries here in Africa. But to be honest, underdeveloped countries exist everywhere. So why did you choose Africa specifically? Is it because of the high potential we've got here? Or there are other, I don't know, maybe other factors?
Well, there were several factors actually. So the first one is, even if materials are not a lot in Africa, African people are one of the happiest in the world. So first off, I was curious about that world perspective, how they can be very happy with very little. So I wanted to understand that perspective. So that was my individual personal goal, to learn from Africans, because I believe they have such a great worldview. They are very grateful for what they have, even if it is very little in comparison to other places in the world.
Yeah.
Second, a lot of kids, they live under very bad circumstances in Africa. So there are some fortunate areas of the world, and there are some less fortunate areas of the world. And in Africa, unfortunately, we have a lot of less fortunate areas. And when I was a student, I dedicated my master thesis to vulnerable children of Africa. And when I was looking at it after many years, when I was 27, after realizing that I did this dedication, it actually sparked my mind and triggered the idea of coming to Africa and training some students here. And another reason was the people that I take as idol. For example, Jeff Dean. He is leading AI efforts at Google, like one of the best engineers of all time, for sure. So he has reached to level 11 on a scale from level 1 to 10. So imagine how great he is. Yeah. And if you just type Jeff Dean facts to Google, you can actually learn a lot about him. So there are many jokes that we do use in engineering world based on him. So he's kind of Chuck Norris of the engineering world, we can say. Okay. And in the past, he has been in Africa. And I had the chance to play football together with him. And in his career, we all know, or in the engineering world, many people know his contributions to the field. And on the football field, like, he had the same discipline. Although he is 20 years older than I am, he is as fit as I am. So, he's setting such a great bar. And, I also get inspiration from that. And why Ethiopia? Because there was only one person that I knew at that time from Africa, Jordanos. So we started working at Liftoff on the same day. And when I had a conversation with her about my dream to come to Africa, I told her about my criteria. I wanted to come to a big country with high population. I wanted that country to speak English because I don't speak French. And as you know, most of Africa is either Anglo-Saxon or Francophone.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go and discover a new culture, like a country that offers a lot with its culture. And Ethiopia is one of the most spiritual places in the world, if not the most spiritual place. And lastly, I wanted to go to a safe country because I don't want to die this young.
I see.
And at that time, there was no civil war. And right now, actually, the conditions are a lot better. Right now in Addis Ababa, things are really peaceful. So the peace is coming, hopefully, to all around in Ethiopia very soon. But yeah, at that time, that was the case. So when I told her about these criteria, she told me that, Emre, you are describing me Ethiopia. You should definitely go to Ethiopia.
Okay.
And for me, yeah, it's okay. I'm going to go to Ethiopia then.
That's great. Don't you think that, for example, A2SV can be expanded to many other countries? For example, there are other countries with high potential in Africa. I don't know, Egypt, Morocco, North Africa, maybe other countries in South Africa. Do you have plans like this?
Definitely. This is not Ethiopia to Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
This is Africa to Silicon Valley. And we definitely want to expand many other countries in Africa in different shapes and sizes. Indeed, for the next expansion, we are planning to go to Ghana. Okay. So there are many reasons for that. And like obviously, like safety, like having schools, having connections. And right now, looks like Ghana will be our next expansion. And we also plan to expand to Nigeria or Tanzania after. And hopefully, let's say in 5 to 10 years, we will see A2SV in many other African countries as well.
Great. That's a great vision. And I think you will be successful, inshallah. Okay, so I have another question from your perspective. What do you think that Africa needs to be one day a hub of technology in the world?
That's a great question. So first off, what I have observed from Ethiopia, the university education in software engineering, the students are very talented because smart people are everywhere. Talent is everywhere in the world.
Yes. You know,
if you work with the top people in the United States, in Germany, in Turkey, in Morocco, in Ethiopia, you are going to be working with great people. At the same time, the opportunity is not. And for that reason, many great Africans choose to take their talents elsewhere. For Africa to become a tech hub in the near future, first off, we should somehow figure to keep people with know-how in Africa or bring people like me from outside who have the know-how to Africa. And we should set up some processes. So in Africa right now, it is kind of wild west pretty much everywhere. Sometimes this can be an advantage, but many times this is actually a disadvantage. So we should define processes and we should stick with them. So there are amazing things about culture here. Yeah. I really love Habesha culture. I say I am Gummash Habesha by heart. Gummash means how. And at the same time, there are some cultural elements that are kind of holding us back. For example, punctuality. If the person that you're going to meet comes in half an hour, sometimes you may be lucky. Sometimes they may make you wait for an hour, maybe even more. Sometimes you may set meetings. You may show up, not hear anything from the other person. The meeting doesn't take place, and you may hear from the person after 2 days. Oh, sorry, I got busy.
I see.
So, yeah, like when we waste each other's time like this, our processes are not going to be efficient. And when they operate with more efficient processes in other places, let alone closing the gap is going to get larger and larger. So we need to first realize that there are things that we do better in Africa, but there are also things that they do better in the developed world. So we should realize this, and we should try to learn from them what they do better than we do, and try to bring those principles, that know-how here, and apply it on our problems altogether. But there is one big advantage for the future of Africa to become the tech hub, which is we have a huge potential here. First off, we are hungry for success. It's not like we have many unicorns, many worldwide successful tech companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft. No, we don't have those. But we have brilliant people, the future Bill Gates, the future Elon Musk, the future Jeff Bezos, now in the schools, maybe in Ethiopia, maybe in Morocco, maybe in Tunisia. And hopefully as A2SV, we would love to get connected with those brilliant people, high potential people, and enable them, help them getting nurtured with professional business discipline and apply all this learning and know-how on most pressing problems of the continent. And we have the potential. There are some countries which are setting great example. For example, Kenya, now becoming a very big tech hub for the continent.
Exactly.
Nigeria, we see many successful entrepreneurs starting very good businesses which are changing life for people in Africa. And I see no reason why in the horizon of 10 to 20 years, we are going to have more and more of these places and hopefully getting connected with each other and building this network in the continent. And by using the hunger for success and potential with the young population and nurturing them with the right technologies, right education, right guidance, then hopefully this dream of becoming a tech hub is going to be more attainable. And one day, I hope before I die, will be our reality.
It will be, inshallah. I think, as you said, we lack some discipline here, and we also have some behaviors that we need to change because we need to be efficient at work. And I think also we have this problem of our educational systems, because there is a gap between what is needed in the firms, in the big companies, and what is taught at schools. So I think there are many things we have to work on, and I think this dream will come true one day, very soon. Inshallah. Okay, so thank you for this. Emre, I would like to ask you if you have some resources that have helped you along the way. For example, some books or podcasts or mentors you'd like to share with our audience.
Definitely. So first off, I learned importance of guidance, importance of mentorship a little late in my life. I was the oldest in my family. I didn't have any cousins which were older than me, not just siblings, but also no cousins. And like my uncles were old enough to consider them as different generation. And for that reason, until I would say age 27, I didn't get much of a guidance from somebody that I feel very close, that I can ask my questions and do learning by reflection. And I highly recommend everybody to understand the importance of guidance and mentorship from early days, because there is no reason to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
It is already invented, so we can build on it. I don't have to make the same mistakes. Some people like I am, who just came to world a little earlier than I did and had the life experience that I didn't have yet, I can get connected with those people and learn from them. So for everybody who wants to get better version of themselves, I highly recommend getting guidance and mentorship from people that you respect, that you love, that you can be completely open and frank. Because learning never ends, whether in the school, whether outside of the school, in life, it never ends. Until the last day of our lives, we will continue learning new things. So the more efficient we get in our learning techniques, the better it will be. In terms of materials, I would say we are living in a world where access to information is no more a valid excuse. No matter what kind of skill you want to add to yourself, I'm pretty sure by spending, 15 minutes on Google, YouTube, Quora, Reddit, you may find super useful resources, learning paths that you can follow and improve your skills. At the same time, the challenge of today's world, in my opinion, is distractions. We have so many distractions. 50 years ago, 70 years ago, people living in Africa, living in Turkey, in other places, majority of the areas, they didn't have access to high quality education, information. It was not easily accessible. So it was a very valid reason for them to tell, hey, I didn't get educated because I didn't have access to this university. My parents didn't have the money to send me to a good school. That's why I didn't learn. But in today's world, we don't have this excuse anymore. Best of the best teachers from MIT, their lecture videos, you can find them on YouTube.
Yes.
All the A2SV content that we are producing that is completely freely available online. And there are so many other organizations which do the same thing. So information is there. However, put in our mind, having consistent time dedicated for studies, staying focused, and doing that after again and again, maybe for a month, for 3 months, for 6 months. This is the harder task. Because to get mastery in one thing, they say you need to dedicate 10,000 hours. It's not a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's a huge.
Yes. But is it doable? Definitely doable. And I also highly recommend making the effort a team effort. Because if you are taking a challenge as an individual, all the weight is on your shoulders. But if you are taking it with a team, sometimes you're going to be down and your teammate is going to motivate you. Sometimes your teammate is going to feel down and you are going to motivate your teammate.
Yes.
So once you make it a team effort, it's the same thing with going to gym. It's the same thing with preparing for interviews. I believe it's the same thing with everything.
Yes, you're right.
If you want to make it easy, make it a team effort.
Oh, thank you. That's a brilliant advice from you. Actually, you're right about the fact that we don't have any reason to complain. We have countless number of resources we can use on the internet on a daily basis. And for the mentorship, you're right, because mentors can help us avoid many problems and many errors along the way. So things they have experienced before, and they don't want us to, for example, to fall in the same trap or to experience the same trauma or something like this. So yeah, it's very important. And here comes my last question. And Emery, I would like to know if you think that you are making a great impact on humanity or society.
I believe so. When I look at the improvement of our students in problem solving, in communication skills, in seeking better versions of themselves, in making products that are going to help people in Africa, yeah, I can say that I believe I'm making, not just me as organization, we, A2SV, is making a great impact. And I believe this is just the beginning.
Great. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I believe so too. So, thank you, Emre. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Well, all of them are working. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. This talk was very insightful, and I'm really happy, and I was very honored to have you as a guest of my podcast. I've learned a lot of stuff, and I really wish to meet you one day in person. Why not work together on something? and I wish to introduce you to the Moroccan universities, especially the one I went to, NCS in Rabat.
I would love to. And like for people who want to join our community, like we have a Telegram channel. Also, they can get more information from our website, A2SV.org. They can visit and see what we are up to. Yeah, and they can shoot me an email if they are curious about anything. Emre, E-M-R-E, at A2SV.org.
Thank you. I will put all of this information on the video description, inshallah. Thank you, Emre.
Thank you.